November 9, 2001, is a date etched into the memory of millions around the world. It's a day marked by tragedy, heroism, and a profound shift in global history. In this documentary, we will delve into the events of 9/11, explore its impact, and reflect on its enduring legacy. 4 planes flying over the eastern U.S. were seized simultaneously by small teams of hijackers. They were then used as giant guided missiles to crash into landmark buildings in New York and Washington. 2 planes struck the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in New York. The first hit the North Tower at 8:46 Eastern Time, 12:46 Greenwich Mean Time. The second crashed into the South Tower at 9:03. The buildings were set on fire, trapping people on the upper floors and wreathing the city in smoke. In less than 2 hours, both 110-story towers collapsed in massive clouds of dust. At 9:37, the third plane destroyed the western face of the Pentagon, the giant headquarters of the U.S. military just outside the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. The fourth plane crashed in a field in Pennsylvania at 10:03 after passengers fought back. It is thought the hijackers had meant to attack the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. In all, 2,977 people, not counting the 19 hijackers, lost their lives, most of them in New York. All 246 passengers and crew aboard the 4 planes were killed. At the Twin Towers, 2,606 people died, then or later of injuries. Who were the attackers? An Islamist extremist network called Al-Qaeda planned the attacks from Afghanistan. Led by Osama bin Laden, Al-Qaeda blamed the U.S. and its allies for conflicts in the Muslim world. 19 people carried out the hijackings, working in 3 teams of 5 and 1 of 4 on the plane which crashed in Pennsylvania. Each group included someone who had received pilot training. This was carried out at flying schools in the U.S. itself. 15 hijackers were Saudis like bin Laden himself. 2 were from the United Arab Emirates, 1 was from Egypt, and 1 was from Lebanon. Less than a month after the attacks, President George W. Bush led an invasion of Afghanistan, supported by an international coalition, to eradicate Al-Qaeda and hunt down bin Laden. However, it was not until 2011 that U.S. troops finally located and killed bin Laden in neighboring Pakistan.
Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden, the leader of Al-Qaeda, and a terrorist who's responsible for the murder of thousands of innocent men, women, and children.
The alleged planner of the 9/11 attacks, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, was arrested in Pakistan in 2003. He was held in U.S. custody at Guantanamo Bay for years without going to trial, but he and 2 other plotters have now entered into plea agreements in exchange for avoiding the death penalty. Al-Qaeda still exists. It is strongest in sub-Saharan Africa, but even now has members inside Afghanistan. U.S. troops left Afghanistan this year after nearly 20 years, stoking fears from many that the Islamist network could make a comeback. The legacy of 9/11. Flight safety was tightened around the world in the years following 9/11. In the U.S., the Transportation Security Administration was created to beef up security at airports and on planes. It took more than 8 months to clean up Ground Zero, the site of the fallen Twin Towers. A memorial and a museum now stands on the site, and buildings have risen up again, to a different design. The completed centerpiece, One World Trade Center, or Freedom Tower, stands even higher, 1,776 feet, 541 meters, than the original North Tower, which was 1,368 feet. Reconstruction at the Pentagon took just under a year, with staff back in their offices by August 2002.